My good friend from Long Island, Chairman D'Esposito, for hosting today's hearing, and to our witnesses, all four from New York, for being here today. Who doesn't love a panel with four New Yorkers on it? But gentlemen, don't waste your time with the pizza here in D.C. It's just not worth it. Chairman, it's no surprise that you, a former NYPD detective, picked such a good topic for today's hearing: protecting our preparedness, assessing the impact of the border crisis on emergency management. Like your Nassau County constituents, Mr. Chairman, my Suffolk County constituents to your immediate east are frustrated by the border and migrant crises, and they fear for their safety. On Long Island, when President Trump was in office, we defeated MS-13 and made Nassau and Suffolk counties safer. We Long Islanders don't want our nation's leaders to put us down that bad path, and we don't want their policies to drag us back to that ugly place. These crises are especially frustrating to Long Island's leaders because the root causes of each of them are beyond our control. And today we have three witnesses who every day are downstream from the policies which have caused America's border crisis and New York City's migrant crisis. Yet, despite their awesome authorities and responsibilities, these talented individuals have no control over the root causes of the crises with which they have to deal. I would posit that our nation's border crisis and New York City's migrant crisis are both crises of choice, of policy choice, crises which stem from two main policy choices. First, President Biden repealing former President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. By President Biden doing so, migrants, the overwhelming majority of them without valid asylum claims, have been able to enter the United States by the tens of thousands just to disappear into the shadows because most aren't showing up for their asylum court date, which is often 2 years later. The second policy choice, which is causing New York's migrant crisis, are the sanctuary city policies of both New York State and New York City, which prevent city and state law enforcement from enforcing our nation's immigration laws. Mr. Blakeman, sir, thanks for being here. Full disclosure to the committee, one of my first jobs outside the Navy was Mr. Blakeman's campaign manager, but truth be told, I was his overpaid driver and assistant because Mr. Blakeman was and is still very hands-on with everything he does. Good to be with you, Mr. County Executive.
You're no worse for the wear.
I applaud that you've been very clear throughout all this, and Nassau County is not a sanctuary county. You, sir, have had the courage and wisdom that both Mayor Adams and Governor Hochul have lacked throughout this crisis, and your courage and wisdom, sir, is helping to keep Long Islanders safe. I'd like you, sir, Mr. Blakeman, to go into a little more detail about how the migrant crisis has affected crime in Nassau County and the subsequent effect that it has had on police departments and first responders, sir.
Yes, so we have seen an increase in crime basically because you have these organized gangs that are part of the drug cartels from Mexico and other countries who have come to the metropolitan area. They're residing primarily in New York City, and they do cross-border crime. We are just to the east of New York City. And I might add that those who try to characterize this as just a Republican issue, the Democrat county executive of your county, Mr. LaLota, did not create a sanctuary county in Suffolk County. I think common sense people realize that the problem is that we don't know who's coming in, we can't control the numbers, and they are committing crimes. They're also creating burdens on our young people that are devastating. In the United States, over 65,000 young people have overdosed on fentanyl. Where's it coming from? It's coming from south of the border, and many of it's coming from Chinese nationals. I read today that there were 24,000 Chinese nationals that were detained at the border. Those are the ones that were detained. How many got through? We need to secure our borders to make sure that we know who's in this country. We are not anti-immigration, we're for common sense immigration. I could go on and talk about the schools and the burdens that it's placed on our school districts, on our social services, trying to find social services. But I'll tell you one thing that was really something that stood out to me. Flying down here last night through LaGuardia Airport, I talked with an airport employee. I used to be a commissioner of the Port Authority. We ran that airport. And that person was telling me that when migrants come to LaGuardia Airport, They're escorted by airport personnel to a place where they can get a voucher for a hotel, a voucher for food, and a free Uber ride to anywhere they want to go. This is taking away resources that we desperately need to take care of our own citizens. And it's done without federal programs and federal money, and it's done without knowing who's coming in. We need to secure our borders. Then we can have a guest worker program where we have immigration that's controlled. We know who's coming in, and we can have people in this country that want to work hard, and we want to compensate them. And if they want to stay in this country and have a path to citizenship, that's fine. If they want to go back to their country, that's fine. But we need to know who they are. We need to know how many are coming in, and we need to make sure that they're not criminals.
And thank you, Mr. Blakeman. Your testimony is informative. I've run out of time, but I want to say thank you for informing members. We from New York, we get it. There's folks from across the nation who are on this panel today from both sides of the aisle. They need to hear feedback like this so they understand the impact of these federal policies that they have on good suburban folks who just want to be safe. And I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.